Welcome to the Growth Minded Accountant podcast, where our experts will share best practices on running your firm in the digital age. This podcast is brought to you by CountingWorks Pro. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Growth Minded Accountant podcast, where we talk about practical strategies to help you grow and scale your practice. Today, we always have a special episodes, but we do have a special episode today featuring Rebekah Barton, our Chief Visibility Officer at CountingWorks Pro. And we're going to dive into how tax professionals can use AI to run their practices like large firms, all on a micro budget. Today, we're going to talk about 7 different tasks that you can delegate to AI. We're going to also address how AI can be thought of not as software, but more as labor. And I'm going to go through all the different benefits and the reasons that you can utilize AI as a smaller firm and to be able to scale and show as a much larger firm as far as your capabilities. So, Rebekah, if you could say hello before we get into this.
Hey, everybody. So excited to talk about this today. It's a great topic.
All right. Thank you, Rebekah. So I'm going to talk, and then this whole purpose of this podcast is not that AI is going to replace your job. It is going to assist you to be more efficient, provide better advice, and to be basically superhuman in some ways. So, but I am going to go over how AI replaces certain forms of labor and why it can do this. And basically, it can perform specific tasks faster and more efficiently, and often at a lower cost than human workers. So this trend is not going away. It's very evident in jobs that are, I would call, repetitive tasks, rule-based tasks, data processing, and even now getting into some creative tasks like copywriting. So I'm going to give you some of the reasons why AI, at least my view on how AI replaces labor. The first one is just going to be on efficiency and speed. So, if you've used any AI technology, whether that be ChatGPT or some other AI agents or other tools, you understand already how AI can process incredible amounts of data very quickly, and it can make decisions in real time. So instead of a human analyst going through data over days and days and studying it, the AI capabilities obviously is to analyze all that data and make decisions or recommendations based on it very quickly. So that is obviously very useful in services and industries, professions like ours, right? So tax and accounting firms, where decision-making speed can create a significant advantage. And what we mean by that is if you can go through 10 client challenges in hours versus weeks, or having to hire 2 or 3 extra staff members to do a task, you just weren't able to do this right now. So AI now, it doesn't need breaks. It can work 24/7 without losing efficiency. Actually, what's ironic about AI is actually cheaper overnight, because that's when you can batch a lot of requests, and the actual technology, they kind of throttle down the cost. So that's issue one. Second one is just purely on cost savings, obviously, right? So once you figure out what tech to use, AI systems can often costs much less than this human labor. And obviously managing AI is much easier. They will be polite to you all day long. They won't be cutting hours short. They won't be getting sick, things like that. But so basically companies that use AI to cut down on their labor costs will reduce the need for human workers. And what we're talking about right now is how can a smaller firm on a micro budget be just as efficient as a much larger firm, much bigger workforce. So that's another way. Accuracy and precision is another big thing. I think in fields like tax and accounting, AI can provide a lot greater accuracy actually than some human experts. It can go through this data so quickly in such larger amounts of data to determine or give you kind of a recommendation that a lot of humans aren't going to find all that. They don't have the time to read through a 150-page PDF and find on page 111 the actual point that you needed. So it's going to reduce your human error, and it's going to boost your overall productivity. Obviously, it can automate repetitive tasks. And obviously in accounting software, you're seeing that with bookkeeping tasks, invoices, receipts coming in, organizing, scanning documents from clients, things like that. It helps you with scalability. So think of it as labor. AI is scalable, and you can scale it up and down. So basically, you can handle tasks for your entire office simultaneously, right? Very hard for humans to replicate. It can monitor vast amounts of data, basically all your CRM data, or all your client files, and it can find different ways to recommend different recommendations for those people, right? So again, something that your workforce doesn't have the time or the energy to do. They can't concentrate like that. And then, of course, I think the biggest one is complex problem solving. So AI can provide insights and solutions that humans may not discover. And this could be true on flagging, looking at accounting related, like an audit, or finding some red flags that perhaps the humans would have to be scouring this data to find the anomalies. AI can do that in seconds. So I just want to kind of my purpose of this podcast today is kind of get you to start thinking about AI tools as an extension of your labor force, scalable, works 24/7, highly accurate. And this is kind of going on these ideas that, what are some of these tasks that you guys are doing today that you don't have a budget for, you can't hire the humans, and that you can delegate to AI. So Rebekah, I'm going to start. That was a long-winded intro about think of AI as labor. That's all I should have said, and then just stop. But I had to give some background. People like to know kind of why. Well, why is that? So let's talk about now. You talk to our clients, you're client facing, you talk to our clients all day long. What do you see the biggest challenges for our smaller tax and accounting firms today, and how can AI help them overcome it? My big red flag is they're so busy, their heads are spinning. They're having a hard time keeping up with the workload they have. So kind of explain, from your point of view, what you're hearing from our user base.
Yeah, so I think time, obviously, like you just said, Lee, is a huge, huge hindrance to people. There's only so many hours in the day. And if you want to have any kind of a life outside of work, right, you don't want to be sitting there 12 or 15 hours a day working, especially when it's not in the dredges of tax season, right? People want to have that work-life balance. So I think one huge thing that AI does is that it can give you that back, right? It can really help you kind of achieve the work-life balance that maybe you haven't had to date because you've been working late to answer calls or chats. You don't have the manpower to handle all of this, so you've been doing it yourself. All of a sudden, you're saving a ton of time by letting, say, an AI chatbot handle those late night calls or those late night chats because you're not having to sit there at your computer at 8, 9 o'clock at night anymore. Another thing, obviously, is the money, right? If you're outsourcing, so to speak, to AI, you're not having to pay salaries for people to do things like sit and answer chats or sit and do these menial tasks. Again, we never want to say that AI is going to replace human talent. It's not here to replace you, but it can certainly do menial jobs that you're no longer paying someone to do on a base level, right? You're not paying for a 24-hour outsourced customer service associate because you've got an AI chatbot that can answer effectively the same questions. So I think time and money, it all goes back to time and money, and you're going to save a lot of both of them if you take advantage of AI.
Yeah, and Rebekah, you hit one of our 7 because we're going to talk about AI smart bots. But that is true. It is all about time saved, and then what are your billable hours if you are charging by the hour still? If you're moved to packaging and more scalable ways to price your services based on value, and you're using AI that can do things that you used to bill multiple hours for, that's obviously lost revenue. But if you've now changed your mindset on the way you charge, you're still getting even more value probably. If you're charging $2,500 a month, for example, for virtual CFO services, and you're able to do the services in just a few hours, if you had been doing the traditional billing side, you're actually making more money and able to serve more clients. But let's get into the 7 tasks to delegate to AI. The first one is one of our favorites, and that is tax research. We say real-time answers at your fingertips. And so what does that mean? So when we originally started testing out, when ChatGPT came out, and we started testing out, I did a bunch of articles. I had an article in Bloomberg's, a bunch of the CPA journals, and we did a bunch of different things where we said, okay, let's just take some real live examples of questions that were coming through our tax forum, and let's just see what ChatGPT does for them. And we were absolutely amazed at how well it answered the questions and how articulate it was. And it gave us this really eloquent, detailed answers. And then we put it into our tech review. And it was about, at best, I'm going to say a little over 50% accurate. So while it looked beautiful and it sounded beautiful, it just wasn't there yet. Obviously, now with a lot of different models that are coming out with human reasoning, it's getting better and better. What we did here at Counting Works Pro is we had this huge knowledge base of tax strategies, CPE courses that we've created over the years, what our tax analysts have done. So all the humans that had gone in and dissected the code and basically, think of it as kind of the cliff notes of the tax code. We then overlaid that on top of ChatGPT. So now ChatGPT had, why am I saying that? I just had, I had Invisalign recently and I just got them out. And now I have real teeth and I can't speak again. That was yesterday, but it's fun. At least I have my teeth without brackets. But what I was saying is ChatGPT with a layer of context on top of it that it knows is highly accurate, meaning it's not pulling bad data or data that might be outdated. It became highly accurate. We did testing of thousands and thousands and thousands of questions, and we got our accuracy rates up to the high 99, somewhere right around there. We had, 3 to 5 questions out of a couple thousand that were inaccurate in the way that it may used a wrong year. It used 2022 rates or something like that. So from a time standpoint for you as a tax and accounting professional, we do everything. We all recommend human in the loop. So, use the AI tool to do the research, then review it. If there's a question about something that doesn't look right, use Google or something else to find the right citation to verify things that are correct, right? So there's a lot of different ways to use AI tools. Obviously, we have AccountingWorks Pro AI Assistant and TaxBuzz AI, which is kind of the brains behind it. But you can get concise, relevant answers fast. And if you're learning how to write prompts, if you've gone through any of our webinars on prompt writing, you're going to understand, you're going to get the answers. Again, we always say garbage in, garbage out. If you're writing the proper type of prompting, you're going to get, I think, almost 100% that question and answer is ready to go. So the question is, what does that mean per week? Is that 10 hours? Is it 20 hours? I don't know. It depends on the size of your firm. But I guarantee you may not, as a small firm, have those resources right now. You might have been using an online forum and asking questions from your peers. You got a bunch of strangers giving you answers that, whether or not those are accurate. I feel much better using my AI assistant, who I know is highly accurate and does this in seconds. I'm not waiting days and going back and forth over a thread to get answers. And then tools like ours even have a human insurance check. So if you're not sure, you want one of our experts to look at it, hit the human insurance check and go through it. So tax research, number one, time saver. Do it, please. The second one, which is Rebekah would like as well, is responding to client inquiries. I think one of the biggest things we see on our one-star reviews on our marketplace on TaxBuzz, where consumers and businesses review their CPAs and EAs, is responsiveness or lack of it. I sent a question in, they never respond, they never call me back, they don't answer questions. And I get it, you're super busy. It's almost like these are nuisance things. But if you're using AI tools or inline AI tools, you're able to literally click a button. The AI is going to analyze the intent of the question, what the substance, what the context is, and pull from that and write you a very eloquent response back. Sometimes you're going to say, well, it's too robotic. So Rebekah, if you can help, how do you humanize AI when it comes to responding to inbound client inquiries?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things you can do. First, obviously, you can input the data or the response that you need to write or the email you're trying to respond to and say, hey, I need a response to this. Here's a little bit of information. Write a very detailed prompt. The more detailed you are, I always say the more detailed you are, the better the response you're going to get, right? You don't have to write a novel, but give it some context for what you're trying to respond to. Maybe something like, I've worked with this client for 10 years, or this is a brand new client, just to give it an idea of how well you know the person, what the situation is. Another thing you can do is direct the AI to not use certain terms. I am constantly saying, please don't say navigate. Please don't say empower. Please don't say, certain other terms, revolutionize in these responses. And when you negate certain terms, the AI is going to give you better responses because it's not going to sound so robotic. We've all kind of become attuned to those certain terms like navigate that kind of signify something was written by an artificial intelligence program rather than a human. Third thing you can do is go through the response yourself and just make tiny tweaks. It's still going to save you a ton of time to have the base written by AI and to have the majority of the response there in front of you. You can just make little changes, add a sentence here and there that personalizes it for that particular client, and it's going to sound really good, really professional, and you've saved, 30 or 40 minutes possibly in writing that email yourself.
Other suggestions, you can give it prompts on tone. You can add memories into your AI tool, whether you use ChatGPT or a tool like CountingWorks Pro. And that will say, hey, this is the style that I write. I write in storytelling style. I like to refer to people in certain terms. I like to use lists. Those are things that you can start training the AI to start automatically incorporating into your responses. If it knows your name, your address, your phone number, contact info, if it has your bio, it knows things about you. And you can even kind of, give it a little more prompting to get even better, I guess, more personalized, human-like answers. As Rebekah said, companies like us with CountingWorks Pro, we have our AI SmartBot, which is a 24/7 chatbot that basically can answer any question that your client may have, as simple or as complex as they want. We set it up where leads will actually funnel into your CRM in your lead section. If it's a current client, those answers in that chat will actually go into your client hub so you can kind of review and have a human in the loop to see what's going on. We actually limit to how many questions can be asked and basically say, hey, if you need more assistance, reach out. So there's a lot of different ways that people, tax and accounting pros, can use that type of technology. But the reality is, what are you doing? You're improving your customer service, your user experience. Your clients are going to use you even more as a resource. And quite honestly, they're going to end up spending more and they're going to get more value. So the whole idea here is to get better financial outcomes. I would say that's easy 5 to 10 hours per week. I think that's one full day saved. A lot of pros actually don't even answer all the responses. That's the problem. So AI is a game changer here when it comes to that. The next one, so we have seven tasks. Client onboarding. So I'm going to give a bunch of different examples of how AI can assist with client onboarding. Certain tools can handle it, certain don't. So the first one is just, let's say, the intake process from sign off to engagement letter to intake form. So AI can help automate this. AI can personalize everything. So an example is, let's go through a full workflow. You have a new client who's they own a bunch of gas stations, and you want to write a proposal for virtual accounting for those gas stations. Let's change gas stations. Let's do EV charging stations. We're gonna get more modern here. We're AI. We're going all digital. So EV charging stations, and you want to do a proposal. If you put all those variables into the AI, it can write up a custom proposal for the client, and it will personalize that based on their industry, certain talking points, keywords that would resonate with them. So now I've used AI to save me time and create a proposal. If I was using from a template, that would take me who knows how long. It would never be as personalized, but now I've done that in seconds. I put that into my software. I send it out to the client. I include a payment link to Stripe. They pay. And then I have set up automation that now kicks off an engagement letter that was personalized to the EV charging company, right? So now you have an engagement letter that, again, is following the same thing. Once that's e-signed, then it kicks off an intake form, and that intake form now can come in and start the basic background of what that client is. So you can get a little more details, and you can use that data to now use AI to actually start formulating even the engagement in some of the work papers. So AI-driven tools can help automate the process. Again, from sending engagement letters, client gathering, to do missing information, scanning and categorizing documents in your client hub. There's I'm just going on and on onboarding, but the streamlined experience, I'm saying to you, doesn't just save you time, but it also leaves a lasting impression on your clients. And everyone wants the Amazon experience. They want the Apple experience on digital. So just because you're small doesn't mean you can't look like a big firm. You can have top of the line technology that really resonates. And no one likes accounting. No one likes bookkeeping. No one likes doing taxes. If you could take a lot of that stress out of that experience for your client, it's going to make them stickier. They're not leaving you. They're going to refer so many more clients to you. So, what does that mean per client? If you automated this all the way through the engagement into Kanban boards, are you saving 3 hours a client? And then let's think it's an accounting client, 5 hours a client. It's a big deal. We have a lot of this technology built into the CountingWorks Pro platform, where they have a lot of new tools coming, but definitely start looking at your tech stack, start looking at kind of outdated processes that you might have been using. I do it the same way every year. I don't like change. Well, the reality is start liking change, because it's going to save you. It's going to make your life a lot better. All right. So I'm going to go to number 4. And this is where I think you can really get a huge ROI, because now you're able to do things with AI, because of AI, that your software maybe could do, but not as personalized. And this is starting with tax planning and strategy creation. So we have created AI agents that basically make you look like a genius, right? So an email can go out. You can target let's say you have 300 clients. We have an AI agent for tax planning and strategy creation. It could be sold as a one-off service, for example, or it could be part of subscription. But let's say you did it as a one-off service, and I'm going to charge $14.50 for this report, and I'm going to send it to 300 of my top tax prep clients. We have a system that sends out an email, tries to upsell your service, makes it a one-click purchase, then kicks out an intake form that gathers some more personal information, some variables that you would normally do through an interview. That collects the data. The AI then analyzes all that personal data. It should have the tax return in there as well, so then it can really personalize it and give you a very detailed report. And then technology like this, AI technology like this, lets the human in the loop come in and fine-tune that report, maybe personalize it, maybe add a couple things. But now you have a branded, your firm information on it, pretty comprehensive, personalized tax plan. Again, software can't do all these variables like a traditional software. AI can. So now you're going to have each client will have their own completely personalized tax plan. And now you go through the discovery call and go through it with it and how to implement it. And now you maybe have gotten 50 clients to give you $14.50, as a one-time. And then other clients obviously should be on kind of a quarterly or a monthly type plan. But AI could do most of that front-end heavy lifting for you. So then you're just analyzing the client data, right? And then you're looking at the tax strategies that have been recommended, and you're able now to version that however you want and execute it and deliver it in any way you want. So minimal effort from your side, high return, right? So I was just at a planning meeting. We had all these posted up notes up, and it's like, what is the smallest amount of effort with the biggest ROI quickly? This is one of those items. So you could literally, before year end, utilize a tool like this and maybe upsell, again, 40, 50 clients. That could be $60,000, $70,000 in revenue. But more importantly, think of all the benefits your clients are getting out of this. So easily upsell year-round planning services. I think this is kind of the biggest no-brainer that AI enables you to do. Not enough pros are doing this yet. They're still relying on their tax planning software. And those tools are getting more sophisticated too. But the reality is you don't really need it. And you can get really personalized results using the AI tool. So what does that mean? Is that 5 hours you just saved? The research, going in, looking at exact industry that they work on. Are there anything special they should be taking advantage of? AI is going to find that in a second, right? So that's number 4. If you are in the accounting side, virtual CFO side, then I'm going to go to cash flow reports and projections. So same concept, get it done in minutes, not hours. Clients ask you for cash flow forecasts, get the AI to do it. They need them now, right? They're like, hey, I'm working on my budget. AI can analyze your client's financial data, produce really accurate reports, and create these projections in moments, right? This task would take, hours of your time. So AI-powered forecasting absolutely works. Having the ability to analyze income statements, balance sheets, whatever. And then it also can go in and find KPIs for their particular vertical, and you can personalize the outputs as much as possible. So what I like about this is also being proactive. So offer this to your business clients. Hey, I'm doing a cash flow maximization. And so Tax planning is tax minimization report. I'm doing a cash flow maximizing report. And I think that's kind of a neat way to, again, upsell your clients, get an ROI on it. And again, how would you do this in the old days? You couldn't. I mean, at this point, you're able to see a client through the entire engagement, maybe in an hour. And this is where value pricing is not, don't bill by the hour anymore. Build by the value that you're providing. So, what is that, 3 to 4 hours minimum? And more importantly, I think your client base will start looking at you as much more proactive. If you're hitting them up, if you're letting AI analyze data and make recommendations, it makes you much more proactive. It's like, oh, I'm valued. They're actually not waiting for me to have a problem to come. And usually at that point, it's too late, right? So tax preparation is kind of like an historical event. If you didn't plan, it's kind of like, well, this is what you did. This is what the results are. It's hard to change, what was done in the past. So another one. So we're on number 6 to delegate. Rebekah, I know you've been sitting there going, can I participate today? So we're going to marketing and client outreach. I'm going to open this one up to you completely.
Okay.
Just give all the different things, time savings wise, from writing blog posts, newsletters, social media, TikTok, or video scripts, all those kind of stuff. What are the ways that AI can help save time on marketing and client outreach?
We could probably do a whole podcast just on
we
this.
Have.
We have done a whole podcast just on this. So I'll try not to go on too long, but there are literally dozens upon dozens of things that you can do in the marketing front with AI. It can basically become a marketing department for you. If you've always wanted to hire out your marketing, you've been scared, you haven't known where to start, AI is a great place to dive in. Obviously, you're going to be training it on your business model, on who you are. It's kind of a good idea to give it some background on your firm. I always talk about giving your firm a personality. One thing I advise our clients to do when they're just jumping into the marketing side of things is to actually tell AI, hey, this is who I am. This is who my firm is. This is the personality I want it to have and what I want to present. That way it will help the AI system build more cohesive marketing things for you, but you can literally do anything. If you want to create a content calendar for Instagram, for Facebook, if you want image suggestions, and some models, it can even produce the graphics for you with your colors, your branding. It just depends on what AI system you're using. You can create marketing emails. You can create entire drip emails. You can create content clusters to post on your blog or to cross post around the web on sites like Newsbreak, Medium, Flipboard, places like that. You can create, what else? There's so much. You can create ad copy. Say you want to run a social media ad to connect back to a landing page, which we create here at Counting Works. You can create the ad copy to go with that landing page. You can write an entire web service page. If you offer some sort of a custom service that's unique to you, you can have the AI build that whole page for you and have it optimize it for search. There is literally no limit to what you can do from a marketing standpoint. This is one of my favorite things to talk about with clients because their minds are blown, right? We go into the system and I get to show them all the fun things you can do from a marketing aspect, but you really can do anything from writing a social media caption to creating, an email campaign of 7 or 8 drip emails. Anything you have in mind, AI can do it with the right prompt in regard to marketing.
I like to get our clients to start with their bio.
Yeah.
The team page is the 3rd most visited page on your website. As Rebekah was saying, personality is so huge. So they're not hiring AI to do all this work. They're hiring you. They want to trust you. They want to like you. And the more personality, the more you put yourself out there, hopefully it makes you more likable. But a lot of people don't like writing bios about themselves. They don't know how to write a bio. Start there. Just free flow, write a bunch of sentences about yourself. Maybe some history, some education, what you do in your family, what do you enjoy as hobbies, what are you passionate about, and let the AI then develop and tell them, I want to write a bio for my website. My target audience is my tax and accounting clients. I want to come out as trustworthy, responsive, just give it some keywords and then write up kind of the things I just told you about. And you will be amazed at how well it will write a bio. The biggest flaw I see in even our own clients that we tell them, put the bio up. You got to get the T page is really important. and they just, no matter what, they're so like set in their ways. I'm not doing it. It does affect conversion. It does affect traffic. It affects everything, to be honest with you. How many referrals will actually call you? The clients that put themselves out there, their pictures are there, their bio, their stories there. They have a niche or a story to tell. It resonates with the audience, and they just do much better. So sidetrack off of the 7 things to make you look like a superstar in a micro budget. We're going to go to the 7th one. So client meetings and follow-up. So obviously you can now record a client meeting. Transcripts can be created. You could take those transcripts, throw it into AI, and write a summary of what that discussion was. So if you're using note takers like Bubbles, Otter, those are just a couple tools. You have that technology built in. I know Zoom has some of that stuff now as well. And so basically think about it. You're not as, maybe in the old days, when you're sitting there taking notes, or maybe an assistant is listening in and taking notes. This is going to make sure nothing falls through the crack. It's not going to be missed by AI, okay? So then you can summarize things. You can then help even in the calendar side. So if you're using an online calendar, it's pretty easy. But if you're still doing the old-fashioned way, going back and forth, what times work, what don't, let AI do it. There's a ton of ways that you can still stay very personalized and stay very organized. And I think it's really important. And it takes a lot of the mental load off of you trying to track every detail for yourself. I think that's one of the biggest takeaways is you can kind of relax and just be more aware of, just instead of worrying about all the minutia, understand the big picture, knowing that AI, your assistant, your labor force is tracking all that for you. They're going to store it all there for you. They're going to summarize it for you. And then you can take it from there on to put together whatever kind of execution plan is. So how much time does that take? That might only save a few hours, but I think the mental load is the bigger thing, and I think you're going to end up being a little more highly accurate and then faster on your response rate. So I think that is a huge deal. So those are our 7 ways that you can utilize technology and AI to look like a large CPA enrolled agent firm on a micro budget. Okay, you don't need to have this huge army of staff. Think of AI as your secret workforce, and now stop thinking about billing hourly. Are you starting to understand kind of how the value works here? It took you a lifetime to be as smart as you are. That doesn't mean that hourly rate is that lifetime of labor that went into it, right? So, am I now billing $1,500 an hour, $2,000 an hour equivalent? Yeah, you are. If you're using value-based pricing, if you're not doing the tracking of your time, you no longer are limited by how many hours in the day and just you being one person or having multiple partners. You're now able to definitely price based on the outcomes that you're delivering. So I think it is an awesome way to really build out your firm. So the best part about this, you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this happen, right? AI can help you operate like you're in the big leagues without breaking the bank. And I think that's kind of the big deal. So hopefully we have shared, this is about 1.5 years now that we launched our AI engine, maybe a little over a year. We've learned a lot. My confidence in it has gone, completely to this is all in. I was recently at a networking event and talking to a professional who's in the legal side, and he's in the legal software side, and we were talking about AI, and he made some really interesting points. He's still old school. His clients are still, a lot of them are old school. And he's like, well, no, it's not going to affect the legal market. And I'm like, are you serious? I could give you 80% of what lawyers and legal advice, AI can now accommodate, or at least empower people to do more with less and a lower budget. And he kind of like, all of a sudden he's like, well, yeah, I guess you're right. But the issue is a lot of verticals are very slow to enhance this. They're worried about security. There's ways to make sure your client data is not, put it in any database. It's not trained on that data. There's ways to purge it. If you're using proper security, there's ways to protect that data from ever getting reached anyway. So there's a lot of things that you should start considering if you're still on the fence. you got to jump in and start utilizing AI tools. Obviously, Accounting Works Pro, we have our platform, which is basically an AI-powered marketing and client onboarding platform. It does a lot of what we talked about today built into the software. So $300 a month, $400, $500 a month, you can have basically an army of staff behind you with AI tools. So definitely something to think about. We're going to continue next week. I'm getting into tax harvesting and AI tools. We have been working with a strategic partner in developing what I think is kind of a game changer, real-time tax harvesting tool. It's a tool that CPAs, EAs can collaborate with their RIA friends to really make their role of getting a higher alpha for their clients in their investment side, and also looking at not only stocks, but other assets and kind of managing it all. I think it's going to be a really enlightening podcast. We're going to do that next week, so look for that. And we're going to excited. We're just going to push more and more of this narrative. Yes, we are all in on AI here at the Growth Minded Accountant, and I hope you guys are starting to see the benefits. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Rebekah or myself on LinkedIn. Obviously, we have accountingworkspro.com. If you just want to test out for free our AI engine, you can go to taxbuzz.com and click on free, and you can get 100,000 tokens and just kind of play around with the tools. Highly accurate. We train daily. We're not, missing data. We're literally training, and we just added a bunch of stuff this morning from some new court cases and things that came out, bulletins from the IRS. So we hope you're getting value from the Growth Minded Accountant podcast. We're going to continue educating and enlightening as much as possible. We hope to see you at the next event. Rebekah, if you want to have any closing parting words.
I think we've hit everything. So yeah, just reach out if you guys are interested in learning more, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. That was fun.